All right, our last speaker before we do Q&As is Mr. Rob Staley. And if you got this flyers with the crossing, an accredited alternative school. And the good news for those of you that live over in the Village neighborhood, Village Woods, is that they are going to take over Village Woods Elementary. So that will not be an abandoned building, but a very progressive thing. So, Rob?
Thank you, Councilman Hines, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for showing up this morning on Saturday morning. My name is Rob Staley. I'm not from this hometown. I'm from Elkhart. I come to you an hour and a half away and spend every Friday over here trying to do some community development. Corey Martin is with me, our community development director. I am a graduate of Taylor University in education, went to Ball State University, received my master's degree in education, and also obtained my high school principal's license in the state of Indiana, and have had the privilege of being involved in public education for 25 years. I believe in the public schools. I think the public schools are doing a good job with most of our children. However, it is probably not rational thinking anymore today to think that a public school can service all of our children in a traditional school environment. After 25 years in the public school system, 20 years serving as a high school principal, it became evident to me as a high school principal that we had to do something different for kids who are falling out of the system. So we stepped out and created a new school environment, and we do school in a whole different way. And our school is specifically for kids who struggle in a school environment. Kids who are expelled, kids who are involved in misbehaving. Whatever they are, whatever their struggles may be, our job is to collect all of them in one location, which sounds like an impossible mission. Bring them together, provide them with people who care for them with unconditional love, who are willing to share life with them, not just school, but to share life with them, and to educate them, leaving us with nothing less than a high school diploma in one hand and a job skill career path in the other. We're very intentional in what we do. We've been blessed now to have partnerships with 18 school districts in the state of Indiana, ranging from South Bend down to Kokomo, Frankfort area, and all the way over here to the Fort Wayne area and the Butler North. Our mission is very simple. We're here to assist struggling individuals so that they can become transformed, fulfilled, and contributing members of society through a faith-based education and through caring relationships. We are all about transforming lives. We're not just about teaching kids. We think if we're going to change a behavior, we think if we're going to create future community leaders, we have to have a transformation of the heart, not just make kids smarter or give them a certificate and send them on their way. So we're very intentional about what we do. We are if you can imagine this, and this is where it's going to twist your brain, we are a private school created for the purpose of supporting a public school system. Now, when I called my friends at the Department of Education when we first started this, they said, "You can't do that, Rob. You're either a private school or you're a public school." And I said, "No, we are a private school created to partner with public school systems to support the system for the kids who are not being successful in a traditional school environment." Now, we are one of the only state schools in the state of Indiana that would even think of such a thing, because people say, if you're private, then you must be the enemy or the competition of the public. And we would say that's not true at all. We have chosen not to be a charter school because we don't want to pit ourselves against the public school system. We have chosen not to participate in vouchers if vouchers come through. What we are a school system, a private school that partners with public schools. Here's what it looks like. We go to a school community, such as Fort Wayne Community Schools. We now have a contract agreement with East Allen Community Schools. We would go into the school community and we would simply say, will you give us permission to round up every kid on the street that is not in your school system, that's fallen out of the system? We're going to round them all up, and it takes the community to help us find them. When we round them up, we're going to bring them in together, provide an orientation, share our program, and say, if you're in and you want to do another run, a second chance at your education program with a high school diploma, then we want to have permission to submit your name to the public school district, which would be in this situation East Allen. East Allen would then say, we endorse enrolling all these students in our school district. We receive state funding for these kids, and indeed, we will transfer tuition back to you so that you can provide an education. So all it is we bring the kid in off the street, they get new money from the state for this kid, they transfer that new money to us. In almost every situation, the public schools have come out with a net profit off our program. Why? Because we don't charge them as much in most situations as what they receive from the state. I'm proud to say that public school officials can say this program can not only educate kids in the community, create a win-win situation for families, get kids off the street and reduce the violence and crime, help families raise kids so that they're not behavior problems and they become purpose-driven. And by the way, everything we do is centered around Stephen Covey's purpose-driven life. And we can also be a win-win for the community because we want to take these kids on the street who people say, there's nothing we're going to be able to do with these kids. They're just going to be crime and violence. We are going to stop locking them up for $40,000 a year. And we're going to make them productive citizens of your community through a transformed heart. Now, people would say, you must be crazy. This sounds impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, this is impossible. I'll tell you before we get started. This stuff that we're talking about is impossible. There is nobody in the state of Indiana that's going around volunteering to take every gang member, every drug dealer, every kid carrying a weapon on the street, every kid who's a behavior problem, kids with learning problems, kids with special disabilities, and say, would you please bring them into my school? Those are my customers. This is impossible. However, we know somebody that makes this possible, and that would be our Father. We think it takes God to make this happen. Now, people can argue and say, hey, I'm not a religious person. That's okay. You don't have to be a religious person. I'm just telling you, in this organization, if God's not in the middle of it, it ain't going to happen. That's all I can tell you, because there's nobody else that can do this without some kind of outside power that's got to be bigger than what we are. And people can come in our organization, quite honestly, most of our kids don't believe in God, and they come in and say, I don't want anything to do with God. And we say, that's cool. That's all right with us. We understand that, but we're going to love you unconditionally. And throughout the course of our conversations throughout the year, as we continue to love on you unconditionally, and we weave in different times, different biblical principles, you're going to figure out that there is somebody bigger than you in this world, and you're going to need some help. The other thing I'd share is that we offer several services in the community. We are typically a high school program, grades 9 to 12. However, in this community, as I'm talking to Joe Jordan at the Boys Club, Joe says, I want junior high kids in this club. And so Joe and I are having a conversation about starting a middle school program, grades 6 through 8, in the Boys Club downtown. Then we're looking at being in possibly, we haven't signed an agreement yet with East Allen, possibly be in the Village Woods area, maybe not, maybe we'll be in a different building, but wherever we land, we need to be in the neighborhood where our customers are. Right now we're in New Haven. New Haven is way too nice for us. We need to be in the neighborhood, and that's where we belong, and that's where God wants us, because we want to be around our customers. Why? Not only do we provide an education for high school kids, for middle school kids, we provide adult education for our parents. Because our parents come to us and say, by the way, my kid is acting differently, and he's going to school for the first time in his life, and he's got good attendance, he's getting good grades, and by the way, speaking of grades, we raise the bar for our kids. We don't lower the bar. The bar is raised to say we only give A's and B's, 80% mastery in all our work, or you don't get a grade at all. You redo it. There are no such things as C's, D's, and F's, and if you're my veterinarian, or if you're my heart surgeon, I don't want you getting a D in biology. So what we tell our kids, even if you work on my car, A's and B's, 80% mastery in everything you do. And why is it that 90% of our kids who graduate from our school pass all of I-STEP? It's because they've had to learn. They had to be engaged and get 80% mastery. It is a computer-driven school. 70% of the curriculum is on a computer. 30% is offline. We do a lot of small groups. We do parent support groups. Once a month, we bring our parents in. We ask the community to provide a dish. We bring them all together and we educate them. What does it look like to educate your parents on raising troubled kids? What support can we give you? And even to the point where we'd say, somebody comes to our parent meeting and says, our heat's been off for 2 months. Our kids don't have shoes and our kids don't have coats. Our organization turns the heat on. We buy the shoes and we buy the coats. Because We are a holistic approach to the family and not just a school organization. I will close in saying that we do a lot of crazy things in our organization. Not only is it impossible, we make it even more impossible. Our kids need to learn how to work. So we take our kids out, you can imagine this, teachers taking their kids out on work teams. Today, Saturday afternoon, I just got a call. Last night my kids are texting me, my students are texting me in the Elkhart area. They said, Mr. Staley, we're ready to work tomorrow. Every single Saturday, every week, my kids want to work. They have a desire to feel valued in life by work, and they feel fulfilled by work. So we created a tree team, if you can imagine, a tree service. High school kids running chainsaws. Now don't talk to me about liability because we won't go there right now. But I will tell you that if you go to Elkhart, Indiana, you will find 15 kids today laying trees down, cutting trees up, mall-axing wood, cutting it in half, splitting it by hand, and selling the wood to buy the next chainsaw. That's what we do. We also take what we call extended learning opportunities. We have purchased four-wheelers, kayaks, hiking gear, and we go all over the United States and take our kids on trips because we're in school 45 days on a year-round calendar, and we're off 15 for us to have some fun. So we'll go to school, and in the end of September, we take 3 weeks off and travel with our kids. And we take them on extensive trips. So I will close in saying that for one reason or another, and I don't know why, but God has called us to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And we're excited about being here. And not only excited about being here, I'm looking to hire anywhere from 5 to 10 people to work in our organization. And those people will be from your community, not from mine. We have hired a principal to oversee the area in our organization, but we're looking to hire people from your community. And I am here every Friday along with Corey, and we land in this town, and from 6 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night, we have meetings with people like you and others in this community to get to know your community, to understand your culture, because we are not your community, and we will not understand your culture, but you do. And you understand your community, and you, ladies and gentlemen, as a community, will make this school happen. We're not coming in to run a business. We're not coming to do something to you. We're coming in to facilitate something you can do with us. And if you don't buy into this, I guarantee you that this will not work. We need your community. Thank you very much.